I just realized. I don't think anybody was hearing the music in the very beginning. Alright, fine. This is probably gonna work. And you're listening to me talking over this wonderful MIDI, the song you don't have the rights to. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I can still hear the music, but maybe you can't. Good evening, Internet. You're watching the Non-Pro TV party. God, we do a Google Plus Hangout series where we geek out about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. every Sunday at around 8 to 9.
Depends on the day.
You guess when we're going to go live. It doesn't really matter. You watch it on YouTube afterwards. But hey, Google Hangout. It's part of Google Plus. We have an entire script that I have to scroll down to read right now. Also, we probably produced the audio incorrectly at the beginning of the show. Our live Hangout recap review of Agents of the S.H.I.E.L.D. Laws of Nature is what I believe the episode's called.
All right.
Good evening. My name is Frank. I'm joined not at all in studio by Matt.
Hello.
And out in the ether, James.
Woo!
All right. This is going to be fun. On Non-Pro's TV party, we don't just watch TV. We dwell on it. All right, so this is our first episode of Season 3 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We made it. Yes, I'm taking personal credit for the entire TV series. We made it, guys. They told us it couldn't be done. We could have put comic books shows on TV tied into the Marvel Cinematic Universe on ABC involving the S.H.I.E.L.D. team comics, right? Remember when they specifically said that thing?
Right.
I remember when people said it wasn't good.
Yeah, and certainly still people do, but the haters are going to hate. I like the show a lot, and I like this episode. I would say that it's not my favorite season premiere, if you count in the half seasons, just so that we can have a lot of episodes in the mix. It was I think it was a strong open, but it was like a slow burn. Like the episode got better as it went along, and one of the reasons why I like it so much is that we got to see all our main cast members, or majority of them, and how they've changed over the season break. But specifically, we got to see something in the series we haven't necessarily. We kind of get lost with the meta plot, with what the big things that are happening. Is that effectively this is supposed to be a spy show, and a big part of spy shows are fake outs. You think you know where it's going, and then suddenly it goes somewhere else. And this episode had a great fake out, and by the mid to the end, when I realized we were getting something that I didn't expect, I was very impressed. We don't really deal with. I mean, this is a spoiler-heavy review show, so we're going to talk about it. But the entire thing involving Coulson trying to figure out who's been killing all these Inhumans that are showing up. I mean, it was perfect. I like the way that it was like a. What's it called when there's two people who think that the other person's guilty of something, and then suddenly it turns out to be Lash? That's a narrative thing, right? That's got a name to it.
A misdirect?
Sure, we'll call it that. Yeah, there was that misdirection that happened on the subway train was perfect. That to me sang at Spy Show, which I feel like I like to see a lot in S.H.I.E.L.D. specifically. So that was my highlight of the show. That's one of my favorite things. You guys have a favorite thing you'd like to share at the top?
Ooh, I'm gonna say I was mid in this episode. Like I said, I don't think it, like you said, Frank. I don't think it was like my favorite season opener. It felt to me more like a little bit of a mid-season kind of time skip episode. But I'll take it. If I gotta have a thing on the top, and I'm gonna take it, it's gonna be Fitz. Fitz was just, as he was the highlight of much of last season to me, was a big highlight of this episode. I love seeing him act, and I love seeing what he's going through right now.
Yeah, Fitz was great. I think we all love the final scene with him. Pretty cool. Matt, would you like to develop that a little further? You're a little hard for Fitz.
Oh yes, definitely. Absolutely. Fitz was a highlight. Definitely a highlight of the episode for me. I really liked the episode. I thought it was a good start to the season. I do agree that it was a slow burn until it seems like it'll be a lot of setup, but I'm kind of excited about the direction they're going. Along with Fitz, I also want to throw in as another highlight of mine is Sky, or rather Daisy now.
Right.
It was really cool seeing how her character has evolved at the beginning of the season, and how she's starting to develop into a leader, not just a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. And with that comes the growing pains as well as as gaining a leadership position.
Yeah,
That's what I would throw in as my top favorite.
I feel like Daisy Sky is basically like I do enjoy the way the character kind of got into her own power-wise and like confidence-wise. I mean, it's very easy to throw at a character like that who a lot of people disliked in the beginning, and we don't keep throwing out why people don't like the show during a review show. But there's this element of Sky initially where she's there's this like a Mary Sue, like this like just sort of like this character who has all these ill-defined hacking abilities, and she's following around the super secret team, and no one really knows why she's allowed to do so. There was a lot of issues with a character like that they own and make as part of her story, so that when she's at this point in season 3 and she's very confident and she's a leader and she's in charge of herself, it felt natural, as opposed to feeling like, who is this one-off character who used to be a district attorney, then became a defense attorney, and then became a vigilante at night. Not that I'm focusing on any other comic book-based TV shows that might be popular right now. You know, I'm just guessing. I'm just making up stories. Really, that's what I'm doing. So yeah, I feel like it's a natural progression. It took a while to get there, and it was deserved and earned. There's a lot of characters that have gone through changes. Mac is more and more fun. The more we see him, the more I have fun with that character. May we haven't seen yet. That's kind of mysterious and cool.
Yeah.
Grant also we all saw a little bit in a teaser. Fitz we talked a little bit about. I mean, beyond the Fitz out at the end of the episode, he's like suave, daredevil, like guy.
Yeah, it's like also sort of super spy now.
Yeah.
Where he's like walking into a terrorist den and start making demands because he has the cards, but you also kind of see hints of what has happened to him. I know, like in our discussions on our Facebook fan club and Google Plus discussions, people have been kind of showing concern about whether or not he's quote unquote recovered fully,
right,
and whether it was too fast or not. And like while you do see like he has improved a lot since the beginning of season 2, I guess just the way he kind of acts now, there's still hints of what like stuff has affected him, like probably to like a permanent degree. And I'm gonna say out there, I still think it's still a natural character growth and direction that he's going in. I don't think it's anything forced.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like, I mean, having him stutter is one thing, but having it like permanently or seemingly permanently affect his personality in such a way, he is that it's not safe. He's not just cool. I mean, there are times where he's cool when he's being a spy during the day, but
right,
mostly it seems like he's taking a lot of risks, and it's kind of dangerous and pointless. And that's that. And I think the freak out is significant, not just because it's like, oh, that's cool, I want to be like you, but more like, holy crap, there is something severely wrong with Fitz right now, and he needs help. So I still feel like this is part of the damage that Ward had caused initially. So I mean, I like it as well. And then, you know, Coulson, we kind of like glance over Coulson, but he's handless. He's got a robot hand. That's pretty cool. And his personality's growing in for me. Like, I like it. James, do you have anything to add to that?
I like what was going on with Coulson. I like that he has a hand that just doesn't feel right. Yeah, I think one of the things that the show that is doing that I like is with Coulson and with Hunter and with you know, Bobby and Fitz. It feels like a spy show, but then at the same time we get that awesome opening with Daisy and Quake's Daisy being Quake, and it feels like a superhero show. A show that started at the beginning kind of not sure it felt like either, now feels like both. And that, I think, is just real cool.
Right. I mean, S.H.I.E.L.D. has to play the balance because of the subject matter it deals with. So let's talk a little bit about that subject matter.
Okay.
I want to talk specifically about a new character, an Inhuman we just discovered. And, oh, look, we get to see James. Hi, James. An Inhuman we just discovered. I don't know if his name is Joey. I don't think he has a code name yet.
Yes.
And his ability to sort of just melt things. And apparently the whole omega-3 fatty acid thing that was a teaser at the end of the last season is a real problem. Inhumans are amongst us. People are transforming left and right. They did add a little element in the show that keeps it kind of ABC family, or not ABC family, but ABC friendly, which is the whole, thank God people aren't dying as well. Because the Terrigen Mint's supposed to kill you if you're not an Inhuman or if you don't have Inhuman DNA. And that means a lot of people will be dying who have a bad cholesterol.
I think they sort of hand-waved it away. They said, like, the metal, like, that was the actual deadly part was absorbed in the water, so it's basically inert now.
Yeah,
but
that's fine with me. I don't care. I didn't need to see, like...
You didn't need it, really.
It even makes it a little bit, like... It actually makes it a little bit more dangerous in that the chances of Inhumans coming out are more likely because it's not killing, like, 9/10 of the people who encounter it. Because if that were the case, they'd probably pull those vitamins off the shelves. Although... We could do a show about pharmacies and how unlikely that is. I'm sorry, James.
I need to mention my favorite. Hand wavium of the episode was Colton's comment to Bobby, who is now working in Fitz's place, and he's like, "Oh, something about like I bet you didn't think that chemical science degree would come in handy."
Yeah, that was pretty terrible.
Although I think in the comic that she actually does have a, like, I think it's biology degree.
Yeah,
like,
he says
biology.
Yeah, like Mockingbird is like a biology expert in the comic book as well. So it's just something.
That's cool.
It's like, well, now we have an excuse.
Yeah, it's one of those things like they had to establish it. Like, by the way, this is a thing, sort of, in the world of fake sciences. This person has an equivalent degree of fake science. Yeah, I do enjoy it, and so we of course we know that Inhumans are amongst us, and their people are transforming left and right, presumably, and it's a major threat for S.H.I.E.L.D. or a major problem S.H.I.E.L.D. has to handle. Daisy's on the front end of trying to get all these people in a safe place. Apparently, S.H.I.E.L.D. is doing a terrible job since most of them are ending up dead. Another government agency is blamed for it. But what I really want to talk about is Joey and Inhumans in general, and how effectively Inhumans in the MCU seem to basically be taking up the place where mutants used to be. They are the outsiders. You will suddenly become a superhero and not know what's going on. You're going to be hunted down. You're going to be trying to be controlled by the government. All the stuff that mutants used to occupy, that same space, has now been shoved over for Inhumans. I want to know what we think about this.
I think it's kind of cool. Obviously, like Marvel doesn't hold the movie license for mutants. That's still with Fox, and who knows how long that's going to be. So, I mean, if they want to do that kind of storyline, I think they've done a pretty good job on fitting Inhumans in that place, like kind of establishing it with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like I really liked what they've done with Joey so far. He seems like a really cool character, and kind of like making the parallels between him getting powers and like his and him being gay. I thought that was handled actually pretty well, and really brings up those like parallels that that mutants have in the comics. And personally, I thought it felt natural, and it felt like a good fit. And so like I don't think it's like going to be an awkward transition when they start bringing Inhumans into the movies. I think they're handling it in a very careful and well done way.
Mm-hmm. Before I throw it to James, just to answer the Joey as a gay character dealing with being closeted as a gay man and then again closeted as a Inhuman. I think they dealt with it very well, and I think that's fairly common. Maybe not as much as with Inhumans, especially in the comics, which is obviously the only place we've seen Inhumans really beforehand. But certainly with mutants, there's a lot of stories in the movies and in the comics and everywhere else. There's a really good scene in X-Men 2. We talked about this in the fan club and on Google Plus, where Bobby is coming out to his parents as being a mutant, and his mother asks, "Have you ever tried not being a mutant?" I mean, there's a lot that's tried and true. I mean, Marvel's always dealing with characters that feel like they're outsiders, and I think this is a very good way of bringing it in. I think that whether it's mutant or immune, whatever imaginary MacGuffin we attach to the superhero is kind of irrelevant for the most part. I know James may not necessarily agree with that. What do you think?
So I don't dislike it in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think I do have a little bit of background with the Inhumans. The Inhumans. I'm already mashing them together. A little background with the Inhumans in the comics, and in the comics, it's just the connotation of being Inhuman is different than mutant. So mutants tend to have the connotation the Inhumans have in the series, but in the comics, the Inhumans are like a secret society. There's a smug and aboveness to them,
right?
That they don't have in the TV show, for obvious reasons. I like what they're doing in the TV show. I'm just worried. I'm not worried. I'm just curious to see how that changes when we get to places like the Inhumans movie and things like that, because, even a little bit of the TV show had that, this is a great culture that we've passed down for many, many generations sort of deal. They've done a good job at keeping a balance, but, it's just something to be aware of. And as you've said many times before, Frank, what happens very successfully in the cinematic universe then tends to reflect on the comics, and I wouldn't want to see that change in the comics because I don't think it would work. But We're talking about the MCU, so I think it's working well in the MCU.
Right. It's going to cause some interesting questions. So Black Bolt's the king of the Inhumans in the comic books, and the Inhumans very much are this like lofty from before time. You have a little bit of that with mutants too. You've got Apocalypse. You've got these characters who, even Magneto. You've got these characters who sort of claim that they're superior to humanity. But it's always been slightly different, and yeah, they're gonna lose something in the meshing together, or at least that's the worry. But so far they're doing a pretty good job, and it's interesting to even have this discussion because most, beforehand, who knew? Like a very select group of people would actually be aware of it. And even though Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is just a TV show, it's a pretty popular TV show, lots of viewers, and it's gonna reflect on the cinematic universe. That's interesting. All right. I don't know how much time we have left. We have a little bit of time left. I think we want to postulate on the one big mystery that we got teased at the very end of this episode, which is what happened to Simmons and where is she now? Now, I talked to Matt about this beforehand, and I think I posted about it online in our conversation. James, do you have any ideas of where you think Simmons is right now in that weird parallel, that bizarro universe she happens to be in?
I have very little idea. I don't know. Most of the Marvel comics I focus on, generally, I don't have a big understanding of the Marvel cosmic universe.
Yeah, it's complicated.
Part of me thought because she's running, maybe she's on some sort of battle world, but that's mostly because I've read Planet Hulk, and that's about as far as my knowledge of the cosmic universe goes in Marvel. So,
well, I don't
I'm curious. I mean, obviously, she's been transported some sort of dimension or planet.
Now, this is just a guess.
And that's about it. Oh, we know.
This is just a guess. It's not even a guess. It's just like a fan theory because, I think we may have stepped above fan theory with Matt's screenshots, which we'll share with you guys in a minute. But I suspect it's something we've seen before in the show, not in the comics or anywhere else.
Really?
In fact, let me attempt to share that with you now as I begin the thing that I'm going to talk about with my mouth, and I am speaking now. Here it is. I don't know if you're actually seeing it. Are you guys seeing this?
Figured it out.
Yes.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So this is a screenshot from the end of Laws of Nature, the episode we're talking about, Season 3, Episode 1. This is that blue-washed planet, big things in the background, crags and such, and craggy rocks and the spirals and what have you, and blah, blah, blah. And now I think you're going to see my face again. Have you seen my beautiful face?
Yes.
Good. Now we're going to do
Beautiful,
the
you
next.
say?
Hey, don't be a jerk about it. And now you should be seeing myself narrating this thing. You see this? It's Simmons looking at a alien world. Do you actually see that?
Yes.
Okay. Simmons looking at an alien world. It's kind of red wash, big planet hanging in the sky, lots of craggy rocks. This is from Season 1, Episode 9, Repairs. In this episode, there's like literally almost no information about it. There was like a ghost. It was a episode where they dealt with a ghost, but it turns out it was a guy who worked at a particle physics plant who had a crush on like the safety engineer, so he caused a bunch of sabotage to keep seeing her, and then eventually like he's just in this horrible hellverse where it's like one of the weirdest episodes because it has no bearing on anything, and also because like May has to convince this guy, he's like, you just have to move on. And he just ends up in this hellverse for no goddamn good reason. Yeah, so that's where I think she is. I think she's in that world.
That's brilliant.
I think that would be awesome. And honestly, I just toyed with the idea, and then Matt found these screen caps, and I'm like, oh my god, it looks exact. They're reusing the same planet at very least, that planet hanging in the sky. I think it'd be great, and I just think that it's a shame they're probably not going to do that.
I mean, the show has done a pretty good job on tying back to the beginning of the series as well, trying to make sure everything from even the early episodes where you think nothing really matters, like they make them matter in some way. So I think there is some credence to it, and also the whole entire red and blue aspect. I wonder if that's intentional, and the fact that both screenshots have Simmons in it.
Yes.
I want to believe I'm gonna believe with Frank, because I gotta, because it would be so cool, and it would frustrate the heck out of a lot of people. It's like, no, just skip the first few episodes. Nothing's important happens. It's like, no, you gotta watch everything now, because everything is now connected.
Yes, that would be amazing. I think my fingers are crossed that it'll be something as cool as that, and then we'll find out sometime next week. And we're running out of time. You're hopefully listening to our theme song right now and hearing us say goodbye. I'm Frank. You can find me on Non-Productive.com or at NonPro. And these guys also down here. You guys do line cutters every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Cool.
We do.
All right. And if you have anything you'd like to share about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., just post it in a comment on this video, because it's the future, and we read them. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.